I reckon this is the last episode of me by myself. Welcome back to the I Reckon podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, jumping on in the morning. I'm a little bit more peppy in the morning. I'm a little bit more lively in the morning. So I'm going to try and do these before I spend a full day getting covered in beef tallow at our shop. Couple updates on the business side of things. We are very close to running out of range rinse again. Seems crazy because I've been making liquid soap every day this week pretty much. Probably made over, I don't know. I don't even know how many. I'm like out of bottles. They're coming in though, so it's no worries. I got a little bit of a stock to hold me over. Trying to launch the winter scent. I'm afraid to launch it because I'm afraid it's going to get bought out before I have a chance to make more. So I'm getting my feet under me. Shout out to all the retailers who are putting in wholesale orders. If you're a retailer and you're interested in a wholesale order, head to tandlerstallow.com. Contact us and we'll send you the order form. If you're not a retailer, head to tandlerstallow.com and shop direct. If you want to look for a store that we're in locally near you, because we're getting into more stores what feels like every week, hit the find a store page on our website. You will see all the stores that we're in. It's on a little map. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool little feature. Big shout out to everybody for supporting Tandler's Tallow. Really appreciate it. And then tomorrow morning, my dad's got a dental appointment at 8. And then he will head over to the shop where we will record our first episode together as a team. I could not be any more excited. I'm just absolutely thrilled. So that being said, still haven't decided if I'm going to keep the mini episodes going between episodes with him. I think we'll drop an episode together every 2 weeks. Maybe we can get it done every week. Who knows? And then we'll see how that goes. And then we'll see, maybe I'll just jump on if there's something big going on in the news. But I do enjoy doing this. So might keep it going. Got some wave tops, no deep dives today. The White House renovations. I talked about this last night. It's like the Democrat Party has like an email distro and like they've got MSNBC and CNN like looped in and they send out the talking points every morning because everybody's saying the same thing and they're all ignoring the same facts. They're like, oh, it's disgusting that like so many American families are struggling and he's adding a ballroom to the White House. I stop. You know what I mean? Like, God forbid somebody makes something better. God forbid somebody builds something beautiful in this country. The left hates it because they're all like socialist communists. Not all of them. That was mean. A lot of them just want the like Soviet bloc construction. If you don't believe me, go check out the presidential library or whatever that Obama's building. That thing is so gross looking. Like, like we used to build cathedrals. We used to build beautiful things. What's the most charming part of a downtown area of a city of like it's the old architecture. Nobody wants to go see the new thing that got built. I don't know of any new building project that I've been excited about since the 9/11 memorial. The 9/11 memorial is beautiful. Everything else has been blah. I'm excited about the White House ballroom. I'm excited to see how it looks. And I think this is the perfect moment to show that America builds shit. Like we make things, we build things. And yes, a lot of American families are struggling a little bit financially right now, but like our poor people are really fat by and large. I said it. And we're going to jump into that because we have 5 days until SNAP and WIC runs out. WIC is pretty close to my heart because that focuses on pregnant women and women with small children. However, like since SNAP and WIC are probably going to run out, like I don't see any pathway toward those getting an emergency inject of funding. Maybe we need to relook the programs altogether because if you add up somebody who's like receiving unemployment, social security benefits, SNAP, WIC, EBT, whatever, some of those people have gamed, and not everybody, and not even a majority, but enough to where it makes me mad, have learned how to game the system to where they make more than families who are working hard. Like, there's families that are just above the cutoff who are not doing great. It's not easy living for them, but they're just above the cutoff and they're paying their own grocery bill. And you know what they're not buying? Candy, soda, bullshit. They're buying like cans of beans, ground beef, chicken breasts. The meals in a middle class household are not exciting. Okay. There's not a lot of like leeway because they're eating struggle meals. And a lot of us ate struggle meals growing up, you know, bread with butter, sugar, and cinnamon. That sounds good right now, but I'm not going to eat that because I don't have to eat that anymore. Thank God. It's a blessing to not have to eat bread with butter, sugar, and cinnamon anymore. However, SNAP and WIC and EBT and all of this stuff, we really need to clamp down on what you can get. I don't think you should be able to get soda. Like, is that crazy? You should not be able to get soda on EBT. It's not good for you. There's zero nutritional value. However, Coca-Cola and PepsiCo have a huge lobby and they lobby the government to be allowed to have their products purchased with EBT. Nothing's free, by the way. Nothing in this entire world is free. So when somebody goes and gets a bottle of soda at a discounted rate, that's not Coca-Cola taking the hit on their margin. That's coming from you and me. And when you think about it like that, then it's like, you know, because I understand, like, well meaning people want to say, like, I don't want the government to tell somebody what beverages they can and can't drink. I understand that instinct. But let me rephrase the question, reframe the problem. Um, do you want to pay for that? Because when you ask somebody, do you want to pay for this person to get soda whose kids are overweight, hyperactive, they have health problems, which, by the way, you also pay for, because if they're on Obamacare or something like that, your tax dollars are subsidizing their health care and they are diminishing their health outcomes with the food that they eat that, oh, yeah, you also pay for. It seems crazy. So, really excited to see if maybe we can revamp this program to be produce, rice, beans, meat, bread, tortillas, like just actual food. No candy, no cereal, no sugar, like no like maybe like a bag of sugar for you to bake stuff, but like these boxes of cereal are just sugar filled and we've correlated that with like that's what poor people eat for breakfast. And it's not. Like my entire family has been poor for generations and like cereal's a pretty new thing. Like poor people cook. Like eggs, bacon, sausage, protein. That's what we should be subsidizing. I'm more than happy to subsidize that, especially for children. Especially for children. But like if you're not working, I imagine you have time to cook a meal for your kids. So that's how I feel about that. Maybe it's not the most gracious thing. Again, I don't mind my tax dollars going for food assistance. I don't mind it. But it needs to be like we know what nutritional value means in 2025. Like this should be an easy win and stop taking advice from Coca-Cola. Like I'm not getting my nutrition advice from Coca-Cola. I'm tired of it. Anyway, speaking of health outcomes, Trump got a booster shot. Are we still doing that? Gen X boomers talking to you guys, are we still doing booster shots? I thought we were done. I thought and it's fascinating because Trump recently did a deal with Pfizer that caught my attention. I was like, why is Pfizer in the White House right now? Like, are we not done with them yet? And I took a look at it and it was some sort of deal to bring down like prescription drug prices for people in the United States. Because these pharmaceutical companies like to charge the American market more to, you know what word I'm going to use, subsidize prescription drugs getting given out in countries that are poorer. So again, it's not Pfizer taking a hit on their margins to be able to provide, prescription drugs to people in war-torn countries, um, sub-Saharan African countries. They're not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. Americans are paying for it. Oh, and by the way, we're paying for all the foreign aid. And oh, by the way, we're sending weapons over there so that the wars can just keep going and people can keep suffering. It's nuts. But I guess when you print money, you can just do whatever you want. Wish I could print money, but I can't. So I'm trying to retail invest into things that are not going to lose value over time, because any amount of money just sitting in my bank account is actually costing me money. Any amount of money sitting in a high yield savings account is barely beating inflation. So it's me, Robin Hood, and a pocket full of dreams out here. Trump, I'm getting back on topic, guys. Trump got a booster shot, and then immediately after, Barron Trump, his son, the tall one, the really tall one, who's going to like NYU, tweeted out like the side effects of the COVID shot, which is a absolutely stellar Gen Z swipe at his boomer dad. I love it. I think there's a political future for this Barron kid if he ever talks. Does anybody know what Barron Trump's voice sounds like? Because I do not. But if he does know how to talk, which is still up in the air, jury's still out. If he knows how to talk, there might be a political future in it for this guy. I think he's a big part of why his dad won the last election. But this should not surprise us, because Trump just cut that prescription drug cost deal with Pfizer. And I guarantee you, part of the deal was, hey, we made all this COVID shot. We just lost our like emergency use immunity. We're really struggling here. We got warehouses full of this COVID booster these people aren't taking. Because someone taught them how to read and they realized this shit is not safe. Yeah, so if you could just jump on the telly and appear to get a COVID booster, that'd be great. Who knows? Maybe he didn't even actually get a booster shot. He just like did a thing. Maybe it was like saline solution or some shit, or nothing. I don't know. Or maybe he's 79 years old and he really doesn't care anymore. I mean, has Trump ever really cared about his health? Not really. I mean, look at his diet. The dude doesn't sleep. He travels like crazy, which is how you know he's not sleeping. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see a 79-year-old who can just like, I mean, absolutely lock in, but I don't think he particularly cares about his health. So he's probably like, yeah, I'll do the stupid shot if we can get lower prescription drug prices. That's what I think happened. I don't know any facts behind this other than that he got the booster shot. His son Barron tweeted about the side effects, which was funny. And he also did a deal with Pfizer recently. I know those three things to be true. Everything else, pure conjecture. In our last topic for today, the Louvre heist and what it has taught me about B2B sales. Guys, if you needed a sign to fake it till you make it, let these Louvre heisters be your inspiration. Now, what I think what they did is terrible. I think the constant attacks and degradation of Western Christian culture is really annoying, even though like when you ask like what is Western Christian culture, it's like a fish asking what water is. Like you're in it right now. Like if you're here speaking English, if you're listening to me, you're in it. Morally, we were all born on third base. Like everything, all this like shit that we live in right now that makes us safe is based off of Christian morals. It's based off of Western Christianity. And then everybody likes to pile in on top of it and then fucking start complaining. Okay? Speaking of which, yeah, I'm going to finish up with this heist thing. So they pulled up in like a bunch of orange vests, like they were construction workers. in the morning, okay? The Louvre was open. It had been open for like 30 minutes. These dudes pull up in neon vests with a giant like forklift construction equipment thing. They ram it into a window. Nothing to see here. We got to redo the windows. They jump in, they take what they need, they bounce. There's some fear. There's two theories. One is that they're going to take everything apart, sell all the jewels individually on the black market, and we'll never see these things again. I don't really buy that. You lose a lot of value taking it apart, because then it just becomes no different than a ruby that you dug out of the ground. What gives it value is the history, what it represents, who it belonged to at one point. So I think this was a contracted hit, dare I say, inside job. You don't do a heist at 9 a.m. unless you know a guy. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think all the jewels and stuff, they'll stay intact. You know, they'll get sold off of the black market or whatever, and we'll find them in like 50 years. Hold on, baby's crying. Please hold. We'll be back. Okay, we're back. Anyway, I think the heist was an inside job. I think we'll find these jewels in like 5 to 15 years. Last topic that I wanted to discuss. No, I've totally forgotten. Yeah, I've got absolutely no idea. Oh, Dearborn, Michigan, the police chief came out defending, that's the city in Michigan that's doing the call to prayer 5 times a day. This police chief is Muslim, duh. And he's come out saying, you know, this is no different than church bells. Like, there's nothing to see here. This is totally fine. And I want to talk about why it's not totally fine. And sometimes people ask me, do you respect other religions? And my answer is no. I respect people's rights to practice what they choose. But no, I don't respect Islam. Is that, are we asking a serious question here? Respect it? What does that mean? No. Okay. I feel really bad for those people because I feel like they're missing out on the good news of Jesus Christ. And my issue is, like, we've got the separation of church and state. Okay, the state can't tell you what religion you have to practice. That's what that means. That does not mean that we are not a Christian nation, that all of our values, all of our founding documents are rooted in Christianity. Full stop, period. I'm not going to Riyadh asking them to start ringing church bells for me. Why are we importing Muslims and blasting the call to prayer throughout our cities? In the Midwest of all places. They would not allow that in their countries. And if you're a Muslim listening to this and you're upset with me, that's okay. You can be upset. The nice thing about the country that you're living in is that you can feel how you feel and say what you want to say, and I can feel how I feel and say what I want to say. I don't know that you can do that in most Islamic countries, which might be why you're here. I don't know why you're here. However, what I will say is, if you want to hear the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day, why don't you move to a Muslim country? Why would you move to a Christian country? Is anybody asking this? Yes, a bunch of people are asking this, and we're all getting called bigoted. But calling me a bigot doesn't answer the question. Why aren't these people moving to other Islamic countries? I don't understand. I don't get it. But that's okay. I hope Dearborn, Michigan figures it out and remembers what kind of country this is. Remembers who built the country. It wasn't Muslims. So I think we should acknowledge that we're a Christian country and stop having to hide that fact and stop having to be quiet about Jesus to not make other people feel bad. If you move to the United States, you can practice whatever religion you want to practice, but understand that you are in a Christian country. Just like if a Christian was to move to Dubai or Qatar, they can maybe practice Christianity there. But it's not a Christian country. That's not an issue. Nobody calls them bigots, but we're called bigots if, and Jesus tells us to love everyone. And I work hard to do that. But you don't love your opioid addicted child by giving them more opioids. Sometimes love for someone who is doing something wrong, sometimes love for someone who's doing something that is fundamentally bad for their soul looks a little different. It looks a lot like accountability and not capitulating and holding firm. I love you, but we're not going to do this. I love you, but I'm not going to give you money to go buy heroin. Like, as a society, as a Christian society, there's nothing about Christianity that tells us to get pushed over, to get occupied by people from the third world that turn our country into the third world, where now Christians no longer have a place to be because we've demonized Western Christianity. It's happening in Europe. It's happening in Canada. It's happening in the United States, Australia. I don't even know, what they're doing over there. But yeah, I mean, I just fully position myself opposite of whatever's going on in Dearborn, Michigan. I love them as Jesus loves them, or as close as I can get to being able to do that. And I pray for their souls, and I pray that they find Jesus Christ, and I pray that, they stop trying to turn America into a Muslim country, because it's the opposite. The reason why they're safe here is not because of America's ties to the religion of Islam. It's because of America's Christian foundation and Christian values. So we're going to pray for Dearborn. We're going to pray for everybody in the Midwest, in these cities who are Christians, who are now, being occupied by Muslims that want to erase them. So those are the things I'm praying about today. I hope everybody has a good day. I will see you tomorrow with my dad. Bye, everybody.